Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm taking out my dog.
Well, we can talk about something while she's doing that.
Warning, this podcast contains bad language
and scenes that some listeners may find offensive.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Seeing Things Differently
Loyness across the pond.
with Kay and Cleves.
And Angie and Kimberly.
Welcome everyone to episode 3 of Seeing Things Differently, Blindness Across the Pond. We are once again collaborating with a brand new topic for everyone to enjoy. This time around, we're talking about getting about. So lovely little guide dogs, long canes, all the lovely things that you see out and about. And as always, with the last 2 episodes, we are joined by Angeli and Kimberly. Angeli.
Hey guys.
Angeli? What did I say, Angeli? Angie and Kimberly.
You were trying to combine. You were trying to combine
yes.
the names. That's
The
what happened.
combination.
Amberly, yeah.
And of course we have Cleves.
Cleves, I think you'll find.
I didn't know Kimberly and I were a couple.
Oh, well. It's all coming out of the woodwork.
I know, right?
She's in the bedroom, Kimberly. That's where the magic happens.
Go there.
So how are you guys doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
There we go, in unison.
We're not even like sitting next to each other or anything, and it's just
No,
brainwaves across the state.
exactly. That's what it is.
That's good. And Cleves, no one cares. We don't care how you are.
Oh,
It's because I'm in
be
bad
nice,
shape, that's why.
Cleve.
He's
We
all right.
care.
Get your violins out. I've got a broken foot. I'm still I
Oh,
had my booster jab for COVID the other day, so I'm still getting side effects of that. You know,
That's
I'm
so
a dishevelled
sad.
individual.
See, what he's not saying is he broke his foot because he was drunk and he fell down the stairs.
I wasn't drunk, I was hungover.
I mean, they're much of a
there's
muchness,
a
aren't they?
difference. Oh,
Yes.
man.
No, you're good though, aren't you, Cleves?
Yeah. Great.
On the mend. It's good. He got no sympathy from me.
I got no sympathy from anyone. Literally everyone looked at me, and as soon as they saw the boot on my foot, laughed openly in my face.
That's the British way.
It is. I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Totally the UK way. Awesome. So, as I said, this time around, we're going to be talking about everything mobility aids and how the visually impaired and blind make it out and about and do everything we need to do. So, in both the US and the UK, there are assistance dogs and guide dogs. So we'll start off with the furry friends that we have. In the UK, we only have one choice when it comes down to assistance dogs, and that's the Guide Dogs for the Blind charity. It's the only place you can get a guide dog. Other places have tried to do it in the past, but it never works. Guide dogs for the blind are incredibly rich and incredibly powerful, and they've set a standard, basically. Like, their standard of training the dogs is top-notch, and they will not tolerate any other standards, whether they're better or worse or whatever be the case. So they have breeding centres all over the country. You can only get the dog from them. And it has its pros, it has its cons, but there's lots of options in the States, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, but
yes.
where is yours located?
So ours is all over the country. So their main place is a place called Leamington Spa, and that's their national breeding centre. If you're ever in the UK, you can book tours around the puppy centre.
Really?
And
Oh, nice.
yes, not during coronavirus times, but outside of the COVID times, you can book tours and you go around and you can play with litters of 20 Labrador and Golden Retriever puppies.
Yes, I want to do that.
They just bounce around. That's all they do.
Can you
And
take one home?
Oh.
You can't.
Are they available at the gift shop at the end?
Maybe the failed ones.
Mm.
The ones that don't pass and just have a little gift, like a little price tag around the corner.
£10 or best offer.
Maybe for some of them.
I would love to go and play with litters of puppies and watch them bounce around and be happy.
I think there's a bit of a waiting list. I don't think you can just rock up on the day. I think there's a waiting list to go and play with the puppies.
Oh,
But you can do it outside of like COVID times. But what's it like in the States? Like, what options do you have?
So you have plenty of options in the States. And by plenty, I mean we have over 12 guide dog programs. 2 well-known guide dog programs, which is the Seeing Eye, which is in New Jersey. That was the first guide dog school in the US. And then the second one is Guide Dogs for the Blind in San Rafael, California. And they have another smaller campus in Oregon. Those 2 schools are like the Nike and Adidas of guide dog schools, if to put it that way. At number 3, there's Guiding Eyes. They are in New York. I think New York there's 2 guide dog schools, but Guiding Eyes is the third one that's very well known. They have a very unique running guide program, which is really cool. And then there's Leader Dogs, which is in Michigan, and other guide dog schools, other guide dog programs, which are smaller, but we have over 12 of them, and obviously you need to decide if you want a dog. You need to decide where you want to go. What style of training do you prefer? I know the Seeing Eye, they do not use rewards. They use praise, praise and affection, and also correction. It's correction based. So you need to decide if you want rewards based training, like most of the schools do, or praise based, correction based training. You need to decide also the school. You need to decide on like what suits your lifestyle. Do you want to go to a program for 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Does it matter to you if you own the dog immediately upon graduation? Or does it matter if you want to wait a year to 2 years to be able to own your dog? Does vet assistance from your school, like, is that something that you would want? Or does it not matter to you?
Do they give you like a syllabus for this? Do they say like, oh, this is what we do here, here, and here at this particular program, and then you choose one? Or do they decide whether you're eligible?
Well, you have to be legally blind to apply to any guide dog school, which is, 20 over 200 or worse with best correction, or a visual field of 20 degrees or less. People don't give you a syllabus. Yes. Medical forms and stuff like that. All schools require medical forms declaring that you're legally blind. Forms from your doctor to make sure that you're physically fit and, emotionally stable to work a dog. All schools require you to have some sort of route or to be able to work a dog, because, you have to give the dog work. It's not going to be a glorified pet. You have to do your research. No one gives you a syllabus like, oh, here are all the guide dog schools. No, it's, to your own research. You have to be the one to research, if you want a dog. There are guide dog groups on Facebook, which I'm a part of. Everyone's going to say that their school's the best school because they like the program that they went to. But I always tell people, look at what you need and what works for you. Does it matter to you if you go away to a school, or would you rather prefer a place, a program that you can, that brings the dog to you to train at home? Because that's another option.
Yeah. Yes. It's called,
but that's only for students in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Okay. We have a school here called Occupaz. It's a small school. Yeah. They do home-based training, and it's for people within the state of Wisconsin to be able to have a guide dog. And we also have another program called Custom Canines, and they do guide dogs. They do PTSD dogs for veterans. They do autism assistant dogs for children.
So which one did you choose, Angie? Which one did you go for?
Well, here's the difference. In the US, per the ADA, you can also owner train if, let's say, you have a disability and there's no program that caters to your disability. Or if you want to just owner train your own dog, you can. I know people who have owner trained their own guide dogs and have never gone to a single program. Or if you are able to do it, you can have your dog privately trained. I'm going the privately trained route. I chose not to go to a program for my first dog. Reason being is I know somebody who has raised and trained service dogs for 16 years. She is one of my good friends. She lives in my area, and she knows what I want in a dog. She has experience, and I also chose the route because I wanted to bond with my puppy early. I wanted to help with the raising.
And you chose your dog outside of that privately trained person?
Yes. I went through a breeder with my dog. I told her what I wanted in a dog, and she said, okay, you're going to have to think about whether you want a dog from a breeder or if you want to go to through a shelter. And she's like, make sure you do your research. She told me if I, and I said, well, I'm going to go through a breeder because, it is my first, and I want to be sure that I choose a dog, with the right temperament and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not trying to say that a shelter dog isn't great. They are great. I know of shelter dogs who have become fabulous service dogs.
It's just personal preference, just like
it's personal preference. Yeah, it's personal preference too. Who knows? Maybe my next dog might come from a shelter. I don't know. I've never adopted a dog from a shelter before, and it's something that I definitely want to do someday.
Yeah.
But I said, well, if I have the money, I'll go through a breeder, and I saved money to get my dog. I spoke to so many different breeders, and I spoke to the one where I got him from and saved up for him. And honestly, it's all preference, and it's hard work. But I did my homework. I did my research into what I wanted. And my trainer went with me to go pick him out. She evaluated him, performed a puppy aptitude test, which is like a temperament test. And he's the one I took home. So
I think what amazes me is like how much choice you have with your dog, because over here, because we only have the one charity, they breed all of the guide dogs. All of the guide dogs in the UK are from the same charity. And there's multiple stages, but they will clear out dogs that aren't what they would perceive good enough very early. Yeah. Within 6 months, dogs that are not going to be good enough as far as their standards, they usually get auctioned off to the police, the army, other charities.
Yep.
And they auction them off.
That's what happens.
Which is still good. It's still good. I mean, I would say guide dogs are probably, you want them to be the smartest, and you can train, like for airport security, a dog to smell drugs. They don't have to be the smartest dog in the world. You just give them a lot of training.
Yep, exactly. No, it's the same thing here with guide dog programs. If a dog is not fit to be a guide dog, it either can go back to its puppy raiser, get adopted out, or if there is another career that they could go into, like a police dog or bomb detection, or to another service dog program to serve someone else, then they do that. Yeah, because I know that programs, they will switch out dogs, and they'll switch out like breeding stock and stuff like that too.
We should have put the dogs on the employment episode.
Yeah. Oh, I know, and yeah, interesting careers. Yeah, and like my dog's breeder, she even told me that some of her dogs have gone to be service dogs. Some of her puppies, or she's had some dogs that she's donated to Leader for breeding. And so I spoke to so many lab breeders, and most of them told me the same thing, that one of them had dogs that went to guiding eyes. So yeah.
Now for us, we have an application process where you can be denied if you apply to a certain school. I'm not sure what their factors are in accepting someone or denying someone, but I know someone who's been denied. And sometimes I notice that, now this isn't anyone's case of on here, or obviously, or most of the time this isn't the case, I hope, but I do notice that sometimes people just get a dog because for the glorified aspect, where it's like, oh yay, I want a service dog, and really their vision is passable with a cane, or like it just seems that they just have the attitude that it'd be cool to have a guide dog.
Yeah.
And they get one, and the guide dog isn't very well trained, or things like that. And it's just like, I just noticed that.
It's a good live stream dating app.
It's because they muddied the training, and the important thing is when you commit to getting a guide dog, you also have to commit and realize that even though you go through training, the training doesn't end there. The training still continues when you get home. The training still continues, whether it's been 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, that training is still going to continue. So, I mean, you have a highly trained service dog, but you know what? Dogs are dogs. They're not robots. They're still going to make mistakes. They're still going to fuck up.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, it's a dog.
And that's similar here. Like that is similar here. Like what you're saying about sort of being denied, Kimberly. And that happens here with the Guidance for the Blind charity in the UK. They will deny people. Now, on average, it costs from the beginning to the end of training £50,000, which is around $65,000-$70,000 to train one of their dogs.
I give £7 a month to those guys.
Dog.
Yeah. And that's per dog. That's per dog. And
I know. These dogs are $50,000 to $60,000. Hang
on.
To train.
Where is my £8 a month going?
when you get it from a program, they raise all this money and effort to train these dogs, and it's just like, if you're gonna get a dog, just be sure that you're gonna use it properly and that you're gonna give it the work it needs, and that it's not gonna just sit at home all day.
That's it. And because of that, guide dogs in the UK, well, me and Cleves, we know someone who has been denied for a guide dog 3 times.
Do we?
Wow.
Yes.
Oh.
Esther.
Is it because of vision, or is it because they don't?
They're totally blind and they want a guide dog, but their mobility and their independence is so poor.
Why.
The guide dogs have told them every single time, you don't do enough for yourself and you're not independent enough for us to make this investment in you. You're not getting one. And their argument's like, well, if I had the guide dog, I'd be more independent. It's like, well, you need to be independent first.
You're going to get lost with a dog. I'm sorry. And that's the thing that people don't understand. Even here in the US, like, I have seen posts from people all the time in guide dog groups. They're like, oh, I want a dog. I don't like my cane. I don't want to use my cane. And I'm just kind of like, look, no school is going to accept you if you do not hone in your cane skills, and if you do not go out and about and if you're not independent traveling by yourself, because a guide dog is not a GPS system. You're the brains. You're the brains behind the dog. You're the one telling the dog, hey, turn left, turn right, go forward. The dog's not gonna, you're not gonna be like, hey, Fluffy, take me to Starbucks. It's not gonna tell you, all right, let's go to Starbucks,
Yeah.
Your go-to guide dog name was Floppy.
You have to prepare yourself with your cane skills. Like, I had someone tell me once, a family member, they were like, you've used your cane all this time. Why are you getting a dog now? And I said, just because you're blind, a guide dog isn't handed to you. Just because you're blind, it doesn't mean, oh, here's a guide dog. Nope. You have to learn how to use your cane. You have to learn how to travel independently with a cane before you're handed a leash and a harness. That's one reason why I went to training. So
and they're not for everyone. Like me and Cleves have similar sight. It sort of like flips here and there based on the circumstance.
Right.
But I mean, Cleves could get a guide dog if he wanted one, but it's not for him, is it?
Yeah, right, I've been offered one a couple of times, and it's not for me.
Yeah, if you don't see yourself with a dog, that's fine. You don't see yourself with a dog.
I'm not good at being responsible for other people. I can barely look after myself, hence the foot.
Yeah, I mean, some people, a dog works for them. Some people, they don't want to deal with a dog. I'm a dog person. I'm a dog lover here and foremost. I love looking after a dog. I don't mind looking after my dog and playing with him. And having a guide dog to me is ideal. It's something that I wanted.
So, Cleves, what is your thought process with not wanting a dog? Like, you acknowledge, I'm assuming, that it's not for you, but how did you come upon that decision?
Basically, I decided that it would eat too much into my lifestyle in the sense that, well, physically, a guide dog would eat, and I'd have to feed it every morning, take it out, do all the usual, even if it was just the pet stuff. And I just don't want to be responsible for that. I just want to go out and live my life. Whereas, a cane, I don't have to feed a cane. my cane knows where I'm going, kind of, if I know where I'm going. But then again, the guide dog doesn't know either unless you know the route. I don't know. I've just always got used to a cane, and I use my cane like all the time. So yeah, I've never felt the need to have a guide dog yet. Yeah. So I'm not saying that might change down the line, but currently it wouldn't suit my lifestyle. For example, I went out last night, and I just think if it got to about 9-10 o'clock at night, I would have had to go home to feed and take the guide dog out. Which if I'd not taken the guide dog with me. Whereas with me having a cane and crutch at the minute, I've got 2 poles going on. Then it's not something I have to do.
That is entirely a trade-off. And there's been many a time where we'll be out with friends and it will get to that sort of time at night and I'm like, okay, I'm going home. I was like, why? It's like, well, I've got a dog to look after. Like, enjoy the rest of your night. I'm gone. But at the same time, in my commute, I like the mindlessness that comes with a dog, because when my dog Wes, he's retired now, but when he was working, I could pop into the donut shop on the way to work, grab myself a coffee and be like, okay, you know the way, I'm just going to tell you where to go. And I had utter confidence going through a busy city centre. And it's like, I'm just going to sip my coffee, I'm going to listen to a podcast, and Wes is going to do everything, because when he worked well in a busy location, he smashed it. Like, he was fantastic. And then he got shit by the end, but in his prime, he just made everything mindless. And that's what I hated about a long cane. And I'm terrible with a long cane now, but before I got a dog, I am awful with a cane. But before I got a guide dog, I was proficient with one. I made do with a cane, and I did quite well. My technique was decent, but now that I'm in between dogs, I'm just like, this is rubbish. It's not for me. I don't like a long cane.
Here's the thing as well. You can get a long cane. You can just order one online in the UK, get one within a couple of days. Guide dogs might be waiting years.
Well, yeah.
I
think that's the next thing, if we go on to that quickly, is in the UK, the waiting list is around 3 years for a guide dog.
Oh, wow. Like, is it like typically like without the pandemic?
Yes, 3 years. And with guide dogs, you can be accepted for a guide dog, be put on the waiting list, and then you have a pairing visit, and they'll bring a dog out to you. You'll do a walk with the dog. And just because you think that it's getting on well, the instructor can turn around and say, this isn't going to work, and they'll just take the dog away, and then you're on the list again, because they're experienced, and they might turn around and say, well, you were just saying yes because you want a dog. But they might turn around and be like, the dog's too small for you, it can't keep up, or the dog's too fast for you.
Do they have like another option for you, or?
No, it's you go back on the list. And my dog retired last March, and I'm a priority case because I work and it's my second dog. And the pandemic hasn't helped, but I have there's no estimated date for my next dog at all.
Oh, wow.
It's when it happens, it happens. That's what I've been told.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so crazy. Like, here, I guess it depends if they have a dog for you. I know one of my friends, her dog is like 10, 11 now. I know she applied to 2 schools, and the one school that she was hoping to go for, I want to say within like 3-ish months, she got accepted and went. But, they had a dog for her. I guess bottom line is it depends if and when they have a dog for you. It could be 3 months. It could be 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years.
And sometimes the dog isn't a good match. So during training, if you go to a school, they might have to
switch dogs. Yeah, you might switch dogs. Yeah, because usually, like here in the US, they usually have like, I want to say, another dog in mind for you just in case if that doesn't work out. Or sometimes, they might not have another match for you and you might have to go home dogless. Like I had a friend who she went to go train. This was before she got her current dog. She went to go train and she was matched with a dog, and the dog obviously wasn't ready and she didn't feel as ready. And so she had to make the choice to go home dogless. So she went home without a dog. And then they said, well, hey, you know, you can come again once we have a match for you. And they ended up having a match for her, and she's been with her dog now for, I don't know, her dog's like, what, 4 now? So maybe like 2-3 years.
Can you apply to multiple schools?
Yes, you can.
So like you yeah. I didn't know whether you could like, whether it's just a one-stop thing or whether you could apply to like 6 schools and whoever gives you a guide dog first, I'll go with that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can apply to multiple schools. So let's say if I went through a program and I applied to 2-3 schools, and I would go to the one that accepted me first, given that this is the school that I would, that I would want to go to and stuff like that. Obviously, like obviously, just like with college applications and colleges, you would do your research.
Some of them are very intense, where it's like all day and even in the evening, you're working with your dog and things like that. But you come out of there with a very well-trained dog. Like it starts at, you get up early in the morning and all through the day, you work with them and have meals. And even after dinner, you're working with them or doing downtime with them. And I've heard about those programs. So I'm like, I would not be able to handle that just for my lifestyle and health concerns. So I know that wouldn't be the right choice for me. So some of them are like that, not all of them, but they also have where like you have routes that you take them on and you find out if they can handle those certain routes, and they have cones set up and if they can weave through things and just really
obstacles.
Obstacles, and just really good training for them. But it might be in the middle of the program and the dog can't handle it. And so it's hard. What about, how did the program work for you, T?
Quick overview of it. You get accepted after various sort of like, you have assessments, physical, like in-person assessments, lots of forms, and then you get put on the waiting list. Then you get the dogs brought to you one by one, and eventually you will get paired with a dog. And at that point, you do 2 weeks intensive training in a location, and it's just a case that you just go to a hotel, usually in the middle of nowhere, and you do 2 weeks intensive on basic training. And then you're sort of left to your own devices. You'll get visited by the trainer from guide dogs once a month, usually, and they'll go over various things for around a year. And then after a year, you'll get visited every 6 months for the next up to 5 years old. And then after 5 years old for the dog, you get visited once a year after that. And it's just to check that the dog's healthy, happy. If there's any issues, you can always call them out if there are any issues, which I did a few times. But then after 5 years, you know each other. Your partnership is nailed down and you don't really have any issues. The only issue that comes up is eventually the dog will stop working. And that's what happened with mine.
That's what's happening with Cecil podcast.
Yeah.
I'm getting lazier and lazier by every episode.
Yeah, that's it. We're not that old yet.
Yeah, it's the same thing with programs in the US. Like, you have like a field rep that comes out and sees you and sees how you and the dog work and stuff like that. You can call them if you have an issue, whatever, that type of thing.
With various programs and everything like that, what about vet bills and foods? Like, do you have to pick up that cost, or is that done by any of the plans?
It depends. It depends on the program with vet bills. I know some schools help you with your vet bills a little bit. Some schools do not. Some schools might offer discounts on food, insurance, or or something.
Yeah. So over here, they will pick up all the bills if you need them to, but generally speaking, they do want you to contribute if you can. It really depends. So I pay for the food, but the vet bills I don't pay for, just purely based on expense. My retired dog, he's had 2 major surgeries in his life, and the last one cost around £20,000, which is what, $27,000. And now to have a lump removed from his leg. He had a huge lump, like the size of a melon, and they cut it all off. And he had rehab and like fancy rehab. Like they got him in swimming pools and everything. He went away for around 6 weeks, and they got him in swimming pools and all sorts of stuff to rehab his legs. And it cost a fortune. And afterwards, when he was retiring, they said, "Oh, well, are you going to help in his retirement?" I said, "I'm not paying the vet bill because insurance companies won't touch him, considering how much has been spent on him and his medical issues. Like, no insurance is going to touch him now. Not at his age and after all his medical issues."
To put that in context, I for my leg, I spent 5 hours in accident and emergency in a local NHS hospital, and then they gave me a phone call from a physiotherapist 2 weeks later, and it says, "Oh yeah, just shift your weight from side to side."
No swimming pool for
wow.
you?
I'm pretty sure that didn't cost 20 grand.
But yeah, no, it depends on the program. I know some programs help you out, and there's some
programs
discounts.
help you out for a certain amount of time. I'm pretty sure like they might be like, "Oh, we'll help you the first year, but after that."
Yeah.
Is that correct, Angie?
I'm not exactly sure. I just know that some programs help you out with vet bills. Some programs might give you a certain stipend for a certain amount. Some do not. Some programs might give you a discount on pet insurance. Again, I can't really speak for that because I'm not getting my dog from a program. So, but
that's
I
what
can
I've
just give
heard.
you like the general gist.
It could be just rumored or something, but I've heard, so don't quote me anyone. I've heard that.
No.
Yeah, sometimes it can be for a year or a couple, and then they're like, "We have other students we have to do this for," so they move on.
See, canes are much cheaper than guide dogs as well. I can buy a cane for about £40, which is about $50.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've gone on about guide dogs, but it's not the only option you have. And over here, like you said, like you're looking around £40 for a cane, and like that's. I mean, as far as the training, guide dogs over here, they will do cane training as well. Like, that's something they will offer.
You guys have O&M, right?
Yeah, we have O&M. Yeah, I know that there's like some guide dog programs, not all. Some will have like an O&M program where they will work with you on your cane skills and stuff like that. I think at least 2 guide dog schools offer something like that.
Is there any other sort of like charities, organisations around that will sort of do cane training, mobility, that sort of thing, sort of outside of guide dogs?
The programs, the centers that Kimberly and I went to.
There were 3 National Federation of the Blind centers. There are in the country: LCB, Louisiana Center for the Blind, CCB, Colorado Center of the Blind, and Blind Incorporated, which is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And that's where Angie and I got cane travel, cooking, even wood shop, braille and computer training.
Wait. Wood shop? You got to make stuff?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
It was awesome. And 97% of the instructors when I went were visually impaired or completely blind. Mm-hmm. So, and they had good techniques and guards on the saws and things like that. And I learned under a completely blind instructor who has been working with wood his whole life. He was like 50s, in the 50s or 60s.
Cleve's
maybe.
Been working with a different type of wood his entire life.
Ha 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 ha.
So it was nice. So we got really good cane travel. We used sleep shades, which is essentially like kind of like a sleep mask.
Yeah.
And if we had some sort of form of vision, even just light perception, because that way you could see where the sun was in coordinates to where you were walking. So if you weren't completely blind, you wore those and you had an instructor that taught you cane technique and taught you how to cross the streets and taught you the buses and things like that. But outside of that training, you can have someone come to your house, a mobility instructor, an orientation and mobility instructor, aka O&M, come and show you how to do intersections around your house or tell you what you're passing, things like that. I got that type of training as a kid, how to use your cane. It can be something as simple as that, or it can be a school that's located in the state that does that type of training, but it's not as intense and is not as long. Like with the training Angie and I went to, the expected graduation time is 6 to 9 months. I don't know anyone who was less than 6 months. 6 months is generally the time for if someone's completely blind and has lots of skills and just goes there to learn more or learn the more challenging things or updated versions of screen reading programs and different things like that and that type of thing. So we have options. It just depends if you want to travel, if you want to stay in your state, how intense you want it. If you want it for months and you stay at that location, if you want to learn in a different part of your state and stay and go back and forth from home to there, that type of thing.
The same question to you then, Kim. How come you've just stuck with your cane as opposed to getting a dog?
Because I don't want to wake up really early to feed my dog.
Yeah.
That could change, obviously, if I get a job. I don't have a job, or I'm not very active in needing to go out. So I don't have a reason to have to take them out. I don't want to go out in below zero weather because the one of the kind of requirements of getting a dog is to try to get them out and working every day.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. And I don't want to, if there's someone who has other dogs, I don't want to have to bring my dog with me or have to fit them in someone's car or try to fit them on the city bus, just that type of thing. I'm not out and about enough to need one. And I've gotten good training with my cane, so that's good enough for me.
I completely
right now,
get that.
so. And that bit that T said about Cleve's working with a different type of wood his entire life, I was muted, but it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
And I love how Kimberly, she kind of chuckles.
Completely no-sold it.
Okay, I need to be serious.
It seems to have been a bit of a running joke since
know,
the start of the
that.
year that
God,
I
that
need
was
to
great.
start dating again. So
yeah,
I did not get to do wood shop because we did not have a wood shop instructor there, but I still got good training.
So, Cleve, as far as who trained you? Because I don't think I even know. Who trained you with your cane skills that are superior to mine?
Oh, mate, like everything in my life, I'm self-taught. Guitar, life skills, generally being fucking awesome. Just self-taught, mate. I not like my life skills. Someone from the council actually came out, like the local government came out and gave me, I think it was 6 weeks worth of lessons, but it was about an hour a week for 6 weeks. And they basically showed me how to use a long cane. And we walked around the estate for a little bit. And that's about all the training I needed, apparently, according to them.
You seem to do okay.
Oh, yeah. My cane skills are, dare I say it, sick as fuck. But that's because I use it every single day, pretty much. So,
and mine are just lazy. I am the laziest cane user in the world.
To the point that it's barely even.
Oh, I know it infuriates you.
It does. You don't use it. Use the goddamn cane. T has it out in front of him, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It's there as a symbol cane, except why would you not get a symbol cane?
Yeah.
We call those identity canes.
Yeah.
ID canes here in the US. They're so small. They're so worthless, in my opinion.
You see, I have a massive.
We're back to
cane.
woodshop with cleaves again.
It's like, good boy. Right.
See, my cane is massive.
So,
Hey, Draco.
For us, we get our canes. You can actually apply to get a free one every 6 months, but you can't. It's just what they give you. It's a straight one.
Yeah.
We have ones that fold up too. I have one that's a little more expensive. That's not free. That's $45, but it folds up. And I like it because I go in cars a lot. I go into places a lot. I like my long cane if I'm just taking a walk, but 9 chances out of 10, I'm walking to get somewhere. I hated having my long cane and trying to put it in a car. There is a way to put it in a car, but it's still really annoying. And we have telescopic canes, which you have to pay for too.
Yep, and they fold up like a telescope.
Yeah, I heard about that on your episodes. I was actually quite intrigued by that, but then I heard some people saying they were a little bit too small or just a bit tricky to use.
Yeah, they're not good for long distances. I also have a folding cane that I also paid $45 for, but I have a couple straight canes, and the one that I use a lot right now, I love it so much. It's from a website called dcanes.com. It's $21. It is lighter than the NFB canes, Kimberly. Uses the same metal glide tip, but I love it so much.
Yeah, over here, the council will give you some canes, but
they're made of like aluminium. They're really heavy. You use it for a while, and your wrist starts to ache.
So I hate those
horrible things. Yeah,
I hate the Ambitech canes. I hate them so much.
Yeah,
they're so heavy.
But then we have to pay for our canes. Outside of that, that's the basic offering. And I just bought a new cane. It was around £40, so like $55. That's just graphite, 5 foot long, decent size for what I need. My last cane just fell to pieces. It was infuriating. I don't know if I mistreat them. I read on Twitter, someone said,
mistreat them, you don't use it.
No, but I read on Twitter the other day.
Someone said, just had it for like 20 years. That's your problem.
No, that cane,
upgrade, mate.
That cane
Times have
like
moved
4
on.
years old. And I saw on Twitter, someone said, my cane gave up the ghost after 10 years. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or they never used theirs. But 10 years and it lasted that long. I destroyed one in 4.
No, you didn't. You've
oh my God.
20 years.
It's not 20 years. You think I'd have a 5 foot long cane at the age of 14?
Yes.
It's taller than me.
Yeah, it's about that tall now.
Mine's 61 inches.
All right, we're not doing sizes here, girls. Come on.
your woodwork, please.
How tall you guys are. But ours goes. You can either get one to your armpit. Those are the ones that we talked about that are really heavy. Or like the
that
NFB
is if you're
canes.
Learning how to use a cane,
right?
It goes
like a training cane
up to your chest, what they call center mass, or up to your sternum, or up to your nose, or up to your head if you're a seasoned cane user and like to walk fast, like me.
Like mine and T's are both a little bit longer because we walk quite fast.
Yep.
Yeah, the faster you walk, the longer you want it. Mine's to my nose. Everyone's like, but it's so long. It's so long. It's like, well, would you want to know where steps are before they come? You want to hit them first. Obstacles or the curb.
Yeah, I would really love to know where steps
walk into traffic, or do you want to know where the curb is 5 steps beforehand?
Exactly. If it's longer, you feel it more.
Yeah, I'd rather have my cane find it before I do. So, and when Draco is trained, Draco can already tell me where steps and curbs are. Like, what he'll do is he will walk in front of me. I'll tell him upstairs, and then he'll plant his front paws on the first step. And that's how I know we're going up. And he'll show me, I'll say downstairs, and he'll show me where the first step is.
I just hate using a cane in snow.
Do you find though, Kim, right? Using the cane in snow? I don't know. I don't know what your site is like. Using the cane, absolutely ball ache. However, because everything's white, With my sight, I can actually see more because everything's a bit more reflective.
No, the brightness bothers
me. I can see the contrast if it's shoveled. But if it's not shoveled, it's like, where's the damn sidewalk? You know?
Yep. Where's the steps? You know? Oh.
Yeah. Or I love those when the plow comes through and you have to walk over the snowdrift that's as high as your knees just to get to the road.
So that's
annoying.
That you're waiting to cross, and then half the time crossing the street is taken up by trying to get onto the street or off the street in time.
Shit,
it's crazy. So I think if we round out this episode, I think we've covered a lot of it, really. But if we go quick fire...
Wait, can I share a story, though?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so my lovely guide dog in training, he is fantastic in public, by the way, but he's also still a puppy. So at home, you know, sometimes he'll try to do things to see what he can get away with. And so this one time, the other day, we were playing fetch, and, you know, we're having fun. And he's running around like a happy man. And then, you know, all of a sudden, he's like zooming, and then I hear him like chewing something, and I'm like, oh no, what did he get into? So that I'm like trying to like get him to like give me what he's chewing on, and I'm prying open his mouth, and he's fighting me. Then he spits out this thing, and I pick it up and I look at it, and it's, you know, I wear Crocs, and Crocs, they have like these little charms called gibbets that you can put on them, and I have a couple of them. And it was my Harry Potter Slytherin gibbet. Out of all things, you had to like try to chew that one?
Yeah. So my dog only eats poo, so I'm not taking that out of his mouth.
If he... No, I mean, I swear, if my dog were sorted into, you know, a Hogwarts house, you know, one of the Hogwarts houses from Harry Potter, he'd be sorted into Slytherin. He's... God.
That's it. So if we go quick fire, we've covered a lot of like the mobility, what's on offer. But here's the question. Do you think members of the public sort of respect the mobility aids that you have? And what I mean by that is I've been through like the middle of London with a long cane, and businessmen and women have just stepped over my long cane. Just been like, I'm just going to ignore this.
Oh, that is horrible.
My gosh.
I think that's quite nice of them. They stepped over it.
Yeah. Oh, well, some of them got a smack in the arse because of it. So that happened.
Mate, you're going to go to jail for that shit these days.
And then similarly...
Hey, he's blind. He can't be charged for harassment. On purpose. So.
And similarly with like my guide dog, he got into a habit of just knocking people out the way. He would get impatient and just knock people out the way. And I can see enough to see that people just aren't moving, and they acknowledge that I'm there. But then Wes just got impatient, and he's got a massive head. He's a stocky boy, and he'd just push people in the back of the knees. And that's what he'd do. He'd just like push his head into the back of knees, and then people would move because he'll move them. I suppose my thing is like, does that happen in the States much? Like, do you find generally respect the mobility aids or?
Well, sometimes. There are people who understand what the white cane is, and they'll move out of the way. There are people who don't. But lately that I've been out with him, and I have both my tools, right now my dog is not trained in harness just yet. He'll start this summer. So I use my cane in my right hand, and he's on my left side, and people seem to respect him. They know he's working and training, and not to pet him, and they move out of my way too. But yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends, because sometimes you have people that want to pet the dog, and I'm like, no, he's working. Yeah. I haven't had a lot of interaction with that yet, because he's not fully working with me yet. But I will. I know.
You will.
I know
you're
that
nice
I will.
to begin with. Take it from me, Angie. You're nice to begin with.
And then you're going to be an asshole,
and then you become an asshole down the line. I think after 2 years, I became an absolute asshole to everyone because my patience ran thin very quickly.
For me, for the cane, when I first started using it, I would go to the mall a lot with my friends, or my mom noticed that when we were walking, she said it's like the parting of the Red Sea.
Yes, that's the analogy I use as well. It really is.
Everyone
that's funny.
out of your way. And it's funny because my friends would be like, I love bringing you to the mall because now we have a straight shot wherever we want to go because everyone moves out of the way. Mind you, they don't if their back's towards you. But I was just thinking this morning of how if someone were to run into you and they weren't looking where they're going, and if they got mad at me, I could fire back, I'm blind. What's your excuse?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've had plenty of accidents like that. And this was with a dog. I stepped out into the road and cyclists are a menace. And a cyclist didn't signal. And I stepped out into the road. My dog didn't catch it. The cyclist panicked and just went a 90-degree angle and hit another car and just stacked it everywhere. And he got up, like, take in mind that he was going quick and he could have really hurt himself. He got up, got his bike and went, I'm really sorry. And he just carried on cycling.
That's crazy.
Bad. That could have been so bad.
I'm so afraid I'm going to get my cane stuck in someone's spokes and then have it break and have them fall.
Fucking cyclists. They need to get their own lane. That's what they need to do.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
So I think my final question to everyone is, do you think that the mobility aids and like the services that are offered, do you think they give you the opportunity to have the most independent life that you can?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, be honest. I mean, I think that in the UK, it could be better in certain ways, but I think the only issues I have is sort of, we won't go into it today, but like the issues that come with having a guide dog. And even though they're supposed to be allowed everywhere, there are a lot of gaps in knowledge and a lot of arguments happen. I suppose that's the one barrier that I would say is a big barrier.
Yeah, I would say that I kind of feel like when it comes to guide dogs and service dogs, I kind of feel that the public should be educated on where they are allowed and, things like that, because we've got fake service dogs cropping up and people trying to take their pet dog Scruffy everywhere,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I just want you to give me a list of like 10 names that you would pick for a dog, Angie. Scruffy.
For a guide dog?
Any dog, any service dog.
I like unique names. I mean, Draco, obviously, because he's mine.
See, I'm a big fan of naming a dog human names. Like a friend of mine at work has a dog called Steve.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Human names to me, just like, I'm not a very big fan of human names because it's like, I don't want a dog name. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
I mean, in the UK, you don't get to name your guide dog. Dog comes with the name. So,
I know. It's the same thing in the US. In the US, they're named by the litter's named by the same alphabet. So like B names, you can get Bosco, Brownie. See, I don't know.
Ours come from sponsors. That's the dangerous thing. I got my dog's name is Western, as in like where we there's a place in the UK called Western Supermare, and that's what he's named after.
Oh, that's cute, yes. Weston.
But
I don't know why. I thought his name was Winston for the longest time.
A lot of people do, and that's why I just say Wes. Like he goes by Wes. But
by Wes. Okay.
I have a friend whose guide dog's name is Eisenhower.
Oh, that is so cute.
But they're like, that's a mouthful and nonsense. I'm not going to be calling my dog Eisenhower in the street. And they went, I just call him Ike.
Nice.
And then Ike is fine.
I have a couple pseudonames that I use for my dog when we're out and I don't want people knowing his name. Yeah. I'll say, his name is, Cosmo, Saturn, or...
I do the same. I used to do the same. I used to fuck with people who they're like, oh, what's your dog's name? I was like, oh, his name is Biggleton. I'm like, Biggleton? I'm like, yes.
Biggleton, I love that.
And I'm like, oh, that's a lovely name, because they don't want to insult you by saying it's a shit name. So you can have fun with it. And it's like, no, it's Biggleton.
Yeah, because if people start calling your dog its name, then it gets confused and distracted.
Exactly.
And I never understood that until our friend their dog's name started with a D, so she told everyone his name was Big D. And so
I feel like there's another Cleves joke there. I'm not going to say it, but
yeah.
No, but that's a really good tactic, and I use that a lot. And I'd always have a joke where they say, "Oh, what's his name?" And I say, "Oh, Calvin." And they go, "Hello, Calvin," and then he just wouldn't acknowledge them because that's not his name. And I go, "Sorry, he doesn't like you. We better leave." He just wouldn't look. It's not his name.
My dog is very good about ignoring people. Like, someone tried to come up and pet him, and he just laid down. Like, nope. He's not extremely aloof, but he's not overly friendly either, which is nice.
Entirely like Cleves. Not overly friendly.
Hey, do you know what? Right. Hey, Kim, do you name your canes? Because I name mine secretly.
No, but I have a friend who, when she was really little, she got her first cane like at 5, and she named it Sparkle, I think.
Oh, that's nice.
That is so cute.
My current cane is called Cameron Diaz because firstly it's a cane, and secondly it's the whitest woman I know.
I love it. Cameron Diaz. I love it.
Oh, now you're going to make me try to come up with something unique. I'm going to be thinking of it.
Get back to me for the next episode. Yeah,
next episode.
Oh, yeah, I want to name my cane Carmen just because.
Nice.
I'm going to name mine Useless because I'm just going to blame it for all my problems.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it's been awesome, guys. I think we've hit time now. But it's been amazing to chat about. I mean, we could go on for hours and hours and hours, but we have to put an end at some point.
I know. It's always so sad when we have to end, so.
But it's been great, and hopefully everyone who's listened has got an insight into the difference between UK and US. There's a lot of difference here. Sort of,
there is. I love learning.
That's it.
Yeah, same.
That's it. And yeah, we've only touched like the top of the iceberg. So if you're listening, you would like to have more info, there will be links in the show notes of where you can start discussion. We're on Reddit now, so I will put a Reddit thread up with the question of sort of let's discuss dogs and canes and all those lovely things. And then maybe next episodes we'll read out some stories and some ideas and various things what people put on the Reddit. So
good idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. So until next time, guys.
I still think that bit when Kimberly talked about wood shop was great.
So until next time, you can find Cleves at his wood shop.
It just sounds like I have a problem.
You do have many problems. Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll chat to you later.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you for listening to Seeing Things Differently.
Blindness Across the Pond.
With Kay and Cleves.
And Angie and Kimberly.
You can find us on the following social media. seesawpodcast@gmail.com and seesawpod on Twitter.
And you can find us at
Facebook at This Is What Blind Looks Like, Twitter at Blind Looks Like, and you can also email us at thisiswhatblindlookslike@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
I think Zoom's quite good because it gives you like the recording in video and audio, which is pretty good, but sometimes the connection drops for no reason.
Hang on a second, it's recording video. I've been pissing about for ages.